Welcome to ZenLight 8, where timeless wisdom meets modern life. Ever wonder what secrets the ancient philosopher Pythagoras knew that we're only discovering too late? From mastering your mind to finding peace in a chaotic world, his words still echo with truth thousands of years later. Stick around as we unpack the quotes that could change how you live. Starting right now, self-control and freedom, the timeless wisdom of Pythagoras. The ancient voice of Pythagoras, a man who saw the universe as a harmony of numbers and the soul as a spark of divine reason, still whispers truths we too often learn when the shadows of life grow long. Among his many teachings, one stands as a cornerstone of human existence: the interplay between self-control and freedom. These two ideas, like the sun and sea giving birth to salt, are bound together in a union so pure that to lack one is to forfeit the other. Let us walk the unfrequented paths of his wisdom and uncover why mastering oneself is the only gate to true liberty, and how, in the heat of anger, restraint becomes the soul's greatest strength. 1. He who cannot command himself is never free. No one is free who has not obtained the empire of himself. This is the first law of Pythagoras' philosophy of freedom. To be free is not merely to walk unshackled by chains of iron or unbound by the decrees of tyrants. True freedom lies deeper, in the quiet dominion over one's own desires, fears, and fleeting passions. A man enslaved to his impulses is a prisoner, though he may roam the earth unhindered. He is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave, carried by winds he cannot name. Pythagoras bids us to look within and ask, who rules this inner kingdom? Is it reason, immortal and steady, or the chaos of unchecked emotion, mortal and frail? Consider the man who wakes each morning and lets his whims dictate his day. He hungers, so he gorges. He tires, so he idles. He angers, so he lashes out. His life becomes a chain of reactions, each link forged by a master he never chose. Now picture another, who rises and lays in order the actions of the coming day, as Pythagoras advises. He feels the same hunger but eats with measure, the same fatigue but presses on, the same anger but holds his tongue. This man is no slave. He has seized the empire of himself, and in doing so he walks free. Freedom, then, is not a gift bestowed from without, it is a garden cultivated within. The seeds are sown by discipline, watered by reflection, and harvested in the serenity of a mind unclouded by passion. Pythagoras knew this thousands of years ago, and yet we stumble late into this truth, often after years of chasing liberty in wealth, power, or the praise of others, only to find it was always in us, waiting to be claimed. The world today tempts us to abandon this empire. Voices shout from every corner, advertisements promising happiness in a purchase, screens flickering with endless distractions, crowds urging us to follow their fleeting outrage. To yield is easy, to resist is hard. Yet Pythagoras reminds us, choose always the way that seems the best, however rough it may be, for custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. Self-control is not a burden but a bridge. Each step across it, though it may tremble beneath us, carries us closer to a freedom no external force can touch. And what of those who say, I am free because I do as I please? They mistake license for liberty. To act without restraint is not freedom but bondage to the lowest parts of the self. A person captured by his passions cannot be free, Pythagoras warns, for he is like a drunken man exercising madness. His choices are not his own, but the echoes of his basest urges. True freedom demands a ruler, and that ruler must be the self, guided by reason. Decline the public ways, walk the unfrequented paths, and there you will find not a tyrant but a sovereign. The strength of restraint in anger. The second thread of this wisdom weaves through the storms of anger. In anger we should refrain both from speech and action, for sobriety is the strength of the soul, preserving its reason unclouded by passion. Anger begins in folly and ends in repentance, Pythagoras teaches, and who among us has not tasted this bitter fruit? A word spoken in haste, a deed done in fury, these are arrows loosed from a bow that cannot be unstrung. Their flight is swift, their wounds deep, and their recall impossible. Imagine a man wronged by another. His blood rises, his voice sharpens, and in that moment, he feels alive with power. He speaks, and his words cut like a blade. He acts, and his hands strike like thunder. Yet when the storm passes, what remains? A shadow of regret, a soul clouded by shame. He has not won a victory but lost a piece of himself. Pythagoras saw this cycle as a trap, one that snares not the body but the spirit. To break free, he offers a simple yet profound command: refrain. Restraint in anger is no sign of weakness. It is the soul's mightiest act. When the heart races and the mind blurs, to pause is to wield a power greater than any shout or blow. Silence is better than unmeaning words, and stillness better than reckless motion. The wise man, known by his silence, stands above the fool, known by his speech. This is not a call to suppress anger but to master it, to let it pass like a cloud rather than rule like a king. For above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and reason is that star, immortal, steady, and untouched by the tempests below. Picture a child spilling water on a scroll you've labored over. The heat rises in your chest, the words form on your tongue. But you breathe, you wait, and you choose. In that choice lies your strength. You speak not to wound but to teach, or you say nothing at all, letting the moment dissolve. The child learns, the scroll dries, and your soul remains clear. This is the empire of self in action. Freedom not in venting rage but in commanding it. Modern life tests this restraint daily. A harsh word from a stranger, a slight from a friend, a frustration born of a world moving too fast. Each is a spark that begs to ignite. We are told to speak our truth or let it out. As if freedom lies in the noise, Pythagoras disagrees. Concern should drive us into action, not into depression, or, we might add, into fury. To act in anger is to act thoughtlessly, and he bids us never to fall into the habit of thoughtlessness about anything. The soul's sobriety, its unclouded reason, is too precious to trade for a moment's release. The harmony of self-control and freedom. These two teachings, mastery over oneself as the root of freedom, and restraint in anger as the soul's strength, sing in harmony, like the numbers Pythagoras saw ruling the universe. They are not separate laws but two faces of the same truth. To be free is to be whole, and to be whole is to govern the self with wisdom. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, Pythagoras says, and so too is he never as free as when he bends his own will to the service of reason. This harmony demands practice. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day. Begin with small things. Resist the urge to linger in idleness. Speak only what is worth more than silence. Turn from anger before it turns you. Each act builds the empire within. Friends share all things, and so let your reason be your companion on this journey, aiding you to persevere on the road to a happier life. Do not look back when leaving the habits that bind you. Choose rather to be strong of soul than strong of body, and let custom render the rough path smooth. The world may call this hard. It is. Power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of self-control presses close. Yet the reward is a freedom no wealth can buy, no praise can grant, no storm can shake. Above all things, respect yourself, Pythagoras urges, for in that reverence lies the seed of all else. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by silence, a slave by his passions, a free man by his restraint. A call to the present. We hope for your support, as Pythagoras might say, not in likes or comments alone, but in walking this path with us. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and in this moment his wisdom calls. If you cannot have a faithful friend, be your own friend. Command yourself, refrain in anger, and find the freedom that has waited within you since the stars first shone. Sobriety is the strength of the soul. Let it guide you, and let the empire of self be yours. Words and silence, the timeless art of Pythagoras. In the vast orchestra of existence, where numbers rule the universe and the soul hums with immortal reason, Pythagoras offers a melody both simple and profound, the dance between words and silence. His voice, echoing from the ancient shores of Greece, cuts through the noise of our modern age with a clarity that pierces the heart. To speak or to hold one's tongue, These are not mere choices but acts of wisdom, measures of a life lived well. Let us tread the unfrequented paths of his teachings and explore why silence often outweighs empty chatter, and how the smallest words, yes and no, carry the weight of the deepest thought. 1. Silence is better than unmeaning words. Let thy words be worth more than silence. Pythagoras bids us to weigh our speech as a merchant weighs gold, not by its abundance, but by its value. In a world where tongues wag ceaselessly, where every thought is spilled without care, he stands as a sentinel of restraint. Silence, he teaches, is not a void but a treasure, a space where the soul can breathe and reason can reign. To fill it with unmeaning words is to scatter dust over a polished mirror, dimming the light of truth. But when words are spoken, they must shine, each syllable a star, each sentence a constellation, worth more than the quiet they displace. Picture a man who speaks without pause, his voice a river flooding its banks. He boasts of his deeds, grumbles at his woes, fills the air with noise that carries no weight. His listeners nod, but their minds wander. His words vanish like smoke. Now see another, who holds his peace until the moment demands it. When he speaks, heads turn, ears sharpen, for his words bear the mark of thought, the stamp of purpose. This is the man Pythagoras praises, a man whose speech is a gift, not a burden. The modern age tempts us to forsake this wisdom. Screens hum with endless chatter, voices clamor for attention, and silence is drowned beneath a tide of triviality. We are urged to speak, to share, to fill every gap with sound. Yet Pythagoras whispers, "Be silent, or let thy words be worth more than silence." To heed him is to reclaim a lost art, to choose quality over quantity, depth over clamor. A fool is known by his speech, he warns, and a wise man by his silence. The tongue, unguarded, betrays the soul. The tongue, governed, reveals it. This is no call to mute the self entirely. Words are the soul's breath, the mind's bridge to the world, but they must be forged in the fire of reflection, not flung raw from the furnace of impulse. Do not say a little in many words, but a great deal in a few, Pythagoras advises. Let each utterance stand as a pillar, strong and sure, rather than a heap of rubble, scattered and forgotten. Silence, then, becomes the canvas. Words, the paint. Together they craft a masterpiece, or, if misused, a mess. The weight of yes and no. The second thread of this teaching binds us to the smallest yet mightiest of words. Yes and no are the oldest, shortest words, those which require the most thought. In their brevity lies their power, in their simplicity their depth. Pythagoras, a man who saw the universe governed by harmony and measure, knew that these two syllables are not mere sounds but keys. Keys that unlock doors or bar them shut, keys that shape destinies with a single breath. To say yes is to open a path, to pledge a vow, to bind oneself to a choice. To say no is to close a gate, to stand firm, to carve a boundary in the shifting sands of life. Neither should fall lightly from the lips. A yes spoken without thought is a chain forged in haste. A no cast without care is a wall built in folly. Both demand the soul's full presence, the mind's clear light. The oldest words, they carry the weight of ages. Spoken by kings to launch wars, by lovers to seal bonds, by sages to shift the course of thought. Consider a moment when you last said, yes. Did it rise from your depths, or slip from your surface? Perhaps you agreed to a task, a favor, a path, and later found yourself tethered to a burden you did not foresee. Or recall a no. Did it spring from strength, or from fear? Perhaps you turned away an opportunity, a hand, a truth, and now wonder what might have been. Pythagoras bids us pause before these words, for they are not pebbles tossed into a stream but stones dropped into the still pool of life, their ripples spreading far beyond the moment. In our time, these words are cheapened. Yes flows from us in a flood. Yes to every ping of a device. Yes to every demand of the crowd. Yes to every fleeting whim. No is wielded as a weapon, sharp, careless, cutting without cause. We speak them as if they were nothing, yet they are everything. The most thought, Pythagoras insists, must cradle them. To say yes is to align with the universe's harmony. To say no is to assert the soul's sovereignty. Both are acts of power, and power is the near neighbor of necessity. Imagine a friend asks you to join a venture. The world presses you to nod, to please, to conform. But you pause. You weigh the cost, the gain, the truth within. Your no emerges, not loud, not harsh but firm. And in that word, you stand free. Or a child begs for your time, and though the day pulls you elsewhere, your yes rises. Not rushed, not hollow, but whole, and in that word you build a bond. This is the thought Pythagoras demands. A silence before the sound, a stillness before the choice. The dance of words and silence. These truths, silence over empty words, thought before yes and no, are not separate chords but notes in a single song. Pythagoras, who saw time as the soul of the world, teaches us that speech and silence are partners in the dance of life. To master one is to master both, for they define each other as light defines shadow. Above all things, respect yourself, he urges, and this respect begins in how you wield your voice or choose to still it. Practice this dance daily. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day, and let your words follow suit. Speak not to fill the air, but to lift it. Hold your peace not from weakness, but from strength. When anger stirs, refrain both from speech and action, for a blow from your friend is better than a kiss from your enemy, and an unthinking word is a blow to yourself. When choice beckons, let yes or no rise from the quiet serenity of a meditative mind, not the clamor of a scattered one. The world will tempt you to abandon this rhythm. Voices will demand your noise, your agreement, your dissent. Decline the public ways, walk in unfrequented paths, and there find the balance Pythagoras knew. Friends share all things. Let silence and speech be your companions, aiding you to persevere on the road to a happier life. Do not chase after happiness in endless talk. It is always in you, in the stillness where wisdom grows. This is not easy. Custom will soon render it agreeable, but the first steps are rough. Yet reason is immortal, all else mortal, and to align your words with reason is to touch eternity. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, and a word well spoken, or a silence well kept, lifts us to that height. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades. Pythagoras warns, for the tongue reveals the soul. Guard yours and let it sing only what is fair. A call to listen and speak anew. We hope for your support, not merely in echoes of approval, but in joining this ancient art. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and in this moment, Pythagoras calls. Learn silence, listen, absorb, transcribe, and transform. Let your words be few but great, your yes and no the fruit of thought, your silence a strength unclouded by passion. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Let your voice, or your stillness, be that star. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Speak what matters or say nothing at all. Education and morality, the eternal lessons of Pythagoras. In the grand symphony of the cosmos, where number rules the universe and reason stands immortal, Pythagoras offers a timeless chord, the union of education and morality. His words, carved from the stone of ancient thought, resonate still, guiding us through the clamor of a world too often deaf to wisdom. To shape the young is to shape the future. To live justly is to honor the soul. These are not mere ideals but pillars of a life well lived, a harmony that echoes from the cradle to the grave. Let us walk the unfrequented paths of his teachings and discover why educating children spares the rod of punishment, and how justice in word and deed, tempered by reason, lifts us above the chaos of thoughtlessness. 1. Educate the children and it won't be necessary to punish the men. Pythagoras saw the child as a seed, fragile yet brimming with potential, destined to grow into the man who shapes the world, or breaks it. To educate is not merely to fill a mind with facts, but to cultivate a soul, to plant the roots of virtue so deep that vice finds no soil to cling to. If the young are taught well, taught to reason, to respect, to choose the rough path of right over the smooth slope of wrong, then the grown man needs no chains, no lash, no prison walls. The punishment of men, Pythagoras implies, is the fruit of neglected youth, a harvest reaped from fields left untended. Picture a boy who learns only to take, never to give. His hands grasp, his voice demands, and no one guides him otherwise. Years pass, and he stands as a man, greedy, unyielding, a burden to all. The law binds him, the jail holds him, but the fault lies not in his stars but in the lessons he never received. Now see another, a girl whose days are steeped in care, taught to weigh her words, to act with purpose, to seek the good. She grows into a woman of strength and grace, free not because she escapes punishment, but because she needs none. Her education was her shield, her morality her sword. This truth cuts sharp in our time. We build courts and cages, lament the crimes of men, yet too often forget the cradle where it all begins. Pythagoras bids us turn our gaze to the young, for there lies the power to break the cycle. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child. He teaches, and to educate is to kneel, to offer not just knowledge but the compass of virtue. Above all things, respect yourself and teach the child to do the same, for in that reverence grows a life unmarred by the need for correction. The task is not light. Children are not clay to be molded without effort. They are sparks, wild and bright, needing both flame and boundary. Yet choose always the way that seems the best, however rough it may be, for custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. To educate well is to sow seeds of freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of ignorance, from the shackles of unchecked desire. As soon as laws are necessary for men, they are no longer fit for freedom, Pythagoras warns. Educate the child, and the man will need no master but himself. Justice in word and deed, guided by reason. The second strand of this wisdom binds education to morality through the practice of justice. Practice justice in word and deed, and do not get in the habit of acting thoughtlessly about anything. Justice, for Pythagoras, is not a distant ideal but a living act, a harmony struck between the soul and the world. It begins in the tongue and flows to the hand, words spoken true, deeds done fair. To live justly is to live with reason, immortal and steady, as the star above the cloud with its shadow. Thoughtlessness, he cautions, is the enemy of both, a fog that blinds the mind and stains the life. Consider a man who speaks without care. His promises are hollow, his judgments rash, his tongue a blade that cuts without aim. His deeds follow suit, hasty, selfish, leaving trails of ruin. He acts not from justice but from impulse, and in his wake, trust crumbles. Now see another, whose words are weighed before they fall, whose actions align with what is best, not merely what is easy. He wrongs no one by speech, harms no one by deed, for reason is his guide. This is the man Pythagoras calls us to be, a man whose life sings in tune with the universe's order. Justice in word demands restraint. Silence is better than unmeaning words, and a blow from your friend is better than a kiss from your enemy. To speak justly is to speak what is fair, to let no one persuade you by word or deed to say whatever is not best for you. In anger, refrain both from speech and action, for fury clouds the soul's sobriety. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by his silence, and a just man by the truth he chooses to voice. Each word must be a step toward harmony, not a stumble into discord. Justice indeed demands purpose. Do not chase after happiness in reckless acts. It is always in you, waiting in the quiet of a reasoned choice. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades, for the unjust tongue foreshadows the unjust hand. Power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of justice presses close. Every act, small or great, builds the empire of the self or tears it down. To live thoughtlessly is to drift like a leaf on the wind. To live with reason is to steer like a ship through the storm. Our world tests this call daily. Voices shout for vengeance, not justice. Hands grasp for gain, not good. We rush into words and deeds, driven by the clamor of the moment, forgetting the stillness where wisdom dwells. Pythagoras bids us pause. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day. Let justice be your map, reason your compass. Do not look back when leaving the habits of haste. Choose rather to be strong of soul than strong of body, and let your life reflect the light of truth. The union of education and justice. These teachings, educating the young to spare the old, living justly with reason, are not separate streams but currents in a single river. Pythagoras, who saw salt born of the purest parents, the sun and the sea, saw education and morality as the purest parents of a free soul. To teach a child justice is to free a man from punishment. To live justly is to prove the lesson true. Friends share all things, and so let these twin virtues be companions on the journey to a happier life. Begin with the child. Teach not just letters and numbers, but the weight of yes and no, the power of silence, the strength of restraint. A man is never as big as when he kneels to lift another, and the teacher kneels to lift the future. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Let education be that star, guiding the young to a life where justice needs no enforcer. Reason is immortal, all else mortal, and to root a child in reason is to gift them eternity. Carry this into manhood. Practice justice in every word, every deed, and let no thoughtless act mar the soul's clarity. Concern should drive us into action, not into depression, and justice is that action, steady, deliberate, fair. Legislation should be the voice of reason, the judge the voice of the law, but the just man needs neither, for his education has made him his own law. Sobriety is the strength of the soul, preserving its reason unclouded by passion, and justice is its fruit. The path is rough, the world resistant. Custom will render it easy, but the first steps demand courage. He who sows the seeds of murder and pain will not reap joy and love. So sow instead the seeds of learning and virtue, in yourself and in the young. Time is the soul of the world, and in this moment the choice is yours, to teach, to live, to harmonize with the order Pythagoras saw. A call to shape and be shaped. We hope for your support, not in mere echoes, but in heeding this ancient call. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and now Pythagoras speaks. Educate the children, practice justice, let reason rule. Be a good son, just brother, spouse tender, and good father. Begin with the young, begin with yourself. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Teach it, live it, and let the need for punishment fade like a shadow before the light. Happiness and contentment, the inner light of Pythagoras. In the vast harmony of the cosmos, where numbers rule the universe and the soul shines with immortal reason, Pythagoras offers a quiet truth. Happiness and contentment are not treasures to be chased across the earth, but flames that burn within, waiting to be kindled. His voice, rising from the ancient silence, cuts through the din of our restless age with a clarity that humbles the heart. To seek joy outward is to wander lost. To do well and heed no praise or blame is to stand free. Let us tread the unfrequented paths of his wisdom and uncover why happiness lies ever near, and how the soul's steady work, unshaken by others' words, builds a life of peace. 1. Do not chase after happiness. It is always in you. Pythagoras bids us halt the endless pursuit, the frantic race for joy in wealth, power, or fleeting pleasures. Happiness, he teaches, is not a prize dangling beyond the horizon, not a shadow cast by gold or glory. It is a presence, a stillness, a gift woven into the fabric of the self. To chase it is to run from it, for the farther we stretch outward, the deeper we bury what lies within. Like salt born of the purest parents, the sun and the sea, happiness is born of the soul's own light, needing only recognition to blaze. Picture a man who seeks joy in the clink of coins. He toils, he hoards, he counts his gains. Yet each night he lies restless, hollow, for the coins cannot fill him. Or see a woman who hunts it in the applause of crowds. She performs, she pleads, she basks in their cheers. Yet when the echo fades, so does her peace. Now behold another, who turns inward. He labors not for reward, but for the work itself. She rests not on praise, but on her own quiet worth. Their happiness is no distant star. It is the flame they carry, unquenched by the winds of want. The modern world tempts us to forget this. Voices shout from every corner. By this, Achieve that, become more, and we run, breathless, after shadows at sunset, mistaking their length for greatness. Pythagoras whispers, "Stop. Do not look back when leaving this chase. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and within you lies that star, reason, steady and immortal. Happiness is not in the next moment, the next gain, the next triumph. It is here, now, in the present you too often overlook. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present," he teaches. Strip away the clutter of desire, the noise of ambition, and what remains? A soul unburdened, a mind unclouded, a joy that needs no cause beyond itself. Concern should drive us into action, not into depression, and the action is simple. Cease the hunt, turn within, and find what was never lost. Choose rather to be strong of soul than strong of body, for the body fades, but the soul's contentment endures. Rest satisfied with doing well. The second thread of this wisdom binds happiness to contentment through a steadfast heart. Rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they please. Pythagoras calls us to anchor our peace not in the shifting tides of opinion, but in the solid ground of our own effort. To live well is its own reward. To crave the praise or dodge the blame of others is to hand them the reins of your soul. Be equally indifferent to blame and praise, he urges, for both are fleeting, both are mortal, while the good you do stands eternal. Imagine a man who crafts a table. He shapes the wood with care, joins it with skill, finishes it with pride, not for the buyer's thanks, but for the work's own sake. One praises its beauty, another scorns its flaws. He hears both, yet neither sways him. His satisfaction lies in the grain he smoothed, the strength he built, the task he met. Now see another who labors only for acclaim. His hands tremble for approval, his heart sinks at critique. His table stands, but his peace does not. The first man is free, the second, a slave to whispers. This is the empire of self Pythagoras champions. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by his silence, and a content man by his indifference to either. Whatever they think of you, do what you think is fair, he advises. The crowd may cheer today and jeer tomorrow. Their words are wind, their judgments dust. But the good you do, the kindness offered, the duty met, the truth upheld, roots deep in the soul, unshaken by the storm. Rest satisfied with that and let the chatter fade. Our age tests this resolve. Voices amplify through screens, opinions clash like thunder, and we are pulled to bend, to please, to defend. A harsh word stings, a kind one lifts, yet both pass like clouds. Pythagoras bids us stand firm. Do not judge your greatness by your shadow at sunset. The shadow grows long as the light dims, but it is not you. Your work, your intent, your quiet worth. These are the measure, and they need no echo from another's tongue. Ability and necessity dwell near each other, and the necessity of contentment presses close. To find it, release the need for approval, and let your deeds speak where your voice does not. The harmony of inner joy and steady work. These truths, happiness within, satisfaction in doing well, are not separate notes but a single melody, a duet of the soul's strength and serenity. Pythagoras, who saw time as the soul of the world, teaches that joy and contentment dance together, each step a choice to turn from the outer clamor to the inner calm. Above all things, respect yourself, he urges, for in that reverence lies the root of both, happiness as the soul's birthright, contentment as its crown. Practice this harmony daily. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day, not for glory, but for their own sake. Let your hands move with purpose, your heart rest in their motion. In anger, refrain both from speech and action, for fury clouds the joy within. In doubt, do not chase after happiness in false promises, but find it in the stillness of now. Friends share all things. Let this inner light be your companion, aiding you to persevere on the road to a happier life. The world will tempt you to stray. Voices will call you to seek more, to measure yourself by their scales. Decline the public ways, walk in unfrequented paths, and there discover what Pythagoras knew. Reason is immortal, all else mortal, and happiness flows from reason's well. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, and in such acts, done well, done quietly, contentment grows. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades, for their words seek to steal your peace. Trust instead the silence of your own good work. This path is not smooth. Custom will soon render it easy and agreeable, but the first steps demand courage, to turn from the chase, to stand amid praise and blame unmoved. Yet power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of happiness presses close. Sobriety is the strength of the soul, preserving its reason unclouded by passion, and from that sobriety springs a joy no storm can quench, a contentment no voice can shake, a call to find and rest. We hope for your support, not in mere echoes of agreement, but in walking this ancient way. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and now Pythagoras speaks. Do not run, for happiness is here. Do well, for contentment is yours. Be a good son, just brother, spouse tender, and good father, not for their praise, but for your peace. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Find it within, rest in your work, and let the world's chatter fade like a shadow before the dawn. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Let that star be you, steady, silent, whole, strength of spirit, the unyielding flame of Pythagoras. In the grand architecture of the universe, where numbers rule and the soul pulses with eternal rhythm, Pythagoras lifts a lantern to guide us. The strength of spirit surpasses all else. His words, forged in the crucible of ancient thought, ring clear through the ages, cutting through the clamor of a world obsessed with the fleeting. To choose the soul's might over the body's power, to honor oneself above all with the light of reason. These are not mere counsels but the bedrock of a life unshaken. Let us walk the unfrequented paths of his wisdom and uncover why the spirit's vigor outlasts the flesh, and how self-respect, wedded to immortal reason, becomes our truest fortress. 1. Choose rather to be strong of soul than strong of body. Pythagoras bids us shift our gaze from the mirror of muscle to the mirror of mind, from the shell that fades to the core that endures. The body's strength, its speed, its heft, its fleeting bloom, is a shadow at sunset, grand in the moment but gone with the light. The soul's strength, its clarity, its resolve, its quiet fire, is a star, steady above the clouds, shining when all else dims. To choose the former is to build on sand. To choose the latter is to carve in stone. Picture a man who lifts great weights. His arms ripple, his chest swells, and the crowd marvels. Yet a single injury fells him, a single year softens him, and time strips him bare. His power was loud but brief. Now see another, whose soul stands firm. He bends not under sorrow, breaks not under strain, for his strength lies not in sinew but in spirit. He faces the storm with a mind unclouded, a heart unbowed, and when the body weakens, his essence remains. This is the man Pythagoras praises, a man whose might is not borrowed from flesh but born of the eternal. The modern age tempts us to worship the body. Images flash of perfect forms, voices urge us to chase vigor in sweat and steel, and we measure worth by the span of our stride. Pythagoras whispers, decline the public ways, walk in unfrequented paths. Reason is immortal, all else mortal, and the soul's strength is reason's child. Unfading, unbound, untouched by the years. Choose rather to be strong of soul, for the body's triumphs are dust, but the spirit's victories echo through time. This choice is not a rejection of the physical, but a raising of the higher. The body is a vessel, the soul its captain. Let the captain rule. Concern should drive us into action, not into depression, and the action is clear. Nurture the mind, temper the will, seek the good over the easy. Power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of spiritual strength presses close, for it alone carries us beyond the grave. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, and in that act, the soul's might shines brighter than any muscle's boast. Above all things, respect yourself. The second pillar of this wisdom anchors strength in reverence. Above all things, respect yourself, and live with reason immortal. Pythagoras teaches that the soul's power blooms from a root of self-worth, a quiet honor that bows to no external throne. To respect oneself is to recognize the divine spark within, to guard it with the sobriety of reason, and to let it guide every step. Without this, strength falters. With it, the spirit soars, unclouded by passion, unshaken by the world's roar. Imagine a woman who scorns herself. She bends to every slight, craves every nod, lets others' words carve her worth. Her spirit withers, her reason dims, and she drifts like a leaf on the wind, strong in neither body nor soul. Now see another who stands in reverence of her own being. She speaks with care, acts with purpose, and lets no one persuade her by word or deed to do what is not best for her. Her strength is not loud, but deep, not borrowed but owned. This is the woman Pythagoras calls us to be, a woman whose self-respect is her shield, her reason her sword. Respect begins in the mirror of the mind. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and that star is you, flawed yet eternal, mortal yet divine. To honor it is to refuse the chains of doubt, the weight of shame, the pull of lesser paths. Do not chase after happiness in others' eyes. It is always in you, kindled by this reverence. In anger, refrain both from speech and action, for fury dishonors the self. In choice, let reason rule, for it alone is worthy of the soul's throne. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by his silence, and a strong spirit by the respect it commands within. Our world tests this call. Voices shout to measure yourself by wealth, by rank, by the fleeting applause of the crowd. Friends share all things, yet never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades, for their words seek to erode your worth. Pythagoras bids us rise. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day, and let each reflect the honor you owe yourself. Do not look back when leaving the habits of self-neglect. Choose the rough way of reason, and custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. Sobriety is the strength of the soul, and self-respect its foundation. The union of soul strength and self-reverence. These truths, strength of spirit over body, respect for oneself guided by reason, are not separate beams but a single arch, a bridge to a life of enduring power. Pythagoras, who saw time as the soul of the world, teaches that the soul's might and self-honor are bound as one, each lifting the other to heights no mortal frame can reach. Rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they please, for the spirit's strength needs no echo, and self-respect seeks no mirror but its own. Practice this union daily. Begin with the small. Resist the lure of idleness, the pull of praise, the sting of blame. Let your soul's strength shine in silence when words fail, in stillness when haste tempts. Above all things, respect yourself. Guard your reason as a flame, let it light your path, and burn away the shadows of doubt. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and in this moment, the soul's power is yours to claim. He who sows the seeds of murder and pain will not reap joy and love. Sow instead the seeds of reverence and resolve, and harvest a life unbroken. The world will challenge this. Storms will rage, loss, scorn, the slow creep of age, and the body will bend. Yet choose rather to be strong of soul, and no tempest can touch you. Ability and necessity dwell near each other, and the necessity of this strength presses close. To stand when others fall, to rise when others fade. Do not judge your greatness by your shadow at sunset, for the shadow passes, but the spirit endures. Whatever they think of you, do what you think is fair, and let reason, immortal and steady, be your guide. This path is not soft. Drunkenness is an exercise in madness, and to abandon reason is to stagger lost. A person captured by his passions cannot be free, and to scorn oneself is to lock the chains. Yet the reward is a strength no force can shatter, a peace no voice can steal. Friends are companions on a journey, aiding each other to persevere, and let your soul, honored and strong, be your truest friend. A call to rise and stand. We hope for your support, not in mere whispers of assent, but in walking this ancient road. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, And now Pythagoras calls. Choose the soul's might, respect its light, let reason reign. Be a good son, just brother, spouse tender and good father. Not for the body's fleeting crown, but for the spirit's eternal flame. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Strengthen it, honor it, and let the world's noise fade like dust before the wind. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Let that star be your soul, strong, steady, revered. Friends and relationships, the sacred bonds of Pythagoras. In the timeless order of the universe, where numbers hum in harmony and the soul seeks its immortal echo, Pythagoras casts a gentle light on the bonds that tie us, friendship and relationships. His voice, rising from the ancient stillness, speaks to a truth we too often learn late, that companions are not mere shadows on our path, but co-travelers in the quest for a richer life, to share all things, to lift one another, to discern the true from the false. These are the threads of connection he bids us weave. Let us walk the unfrequented paths of his wisdom and explore why friends are pillars of happiness, and how a blow from a true ally outshines the flattery of a foe. 1. Friends share all things and aid each other to persevere on the road to a happier life. Pythagoras saw friendship not as a fleeting tie, but as a sacred pact, a union where souls entwine to bear the weight of existence and chase the light of joy. Friends share all things, not merely goods or time, but burdens, dreams, and the quiet strength that carries us forward. They are companions on a journey, hands outstretched to steady us when we stumble, voices raised to cheer us when we falter. In their presence, the soul finds not just solace, but a mirror of its better self, a spur to persevere on the rough road to happiness. Picture two travelers on a winding path. One carries a load too heavy, grief, doubt, the weariness of days, and begins to lag. The other turns back, not with judgment, but with open arms, taking half the weight, offering a word, a laugh, a moment's rest. Together they walk on, stronger than apart, their steps lighter, their hearts fuller. This is the friendship Pythagoras praises, a bond where sharing is not loss but gain, where aiding is not duty but delight. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and in that present, friends make the moment brighter. Contrast this with a solitary soul. He hoards his struggles, guards his joys, walks alone. Yet the load grows heavier, the path lonelier, and happiness slips through his grasp like sand. Pythagoras bids us choose otherwise. Decline the public ways, walk in unfrequented paths, and there find those who share the journey. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and friends are stars, guiding, warming, enduring. To share all things is to have the sorrow and double the joy. To aid each other is to build a life where happiness is not a distant peak, but a shared plain. The modern world tests this vision. We rush past one another, tethered to screens, counting likes instead of hands clasped in trust. Yet concern should drive us into action, not into depression, and the action is simple. Reach out, share, lift. Friends are not ornaments but anchors. Choose rather to be strong of soul with them than strong of body alone. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day, and let one be this, to nurture those who walk beside you, for in their strength lies yours. Discern the true from the false. The second strand of this wisdom guards the heart of friendship. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades, for a blow from your friend is better than a kiss from your enemy. Pythagoras knew that not all who claim the title of friend bear its weight. Some wield words like knives, cutting behind backs, sowing discord with a smile. To trust such a one is to invite betrayal. To heed a hard truth from a true ally is to gain a treasure. The tongue reveals the soul, and in its words, we discern the faithful from the false. Imagine a companion who whispers tales of others' flaws. His voice is smooth, his grin wide, yet each word drips with venom. Against this one's greed, that one's folly. You listen, you nod, until the day his blade turns on you, and the pattern repeats. This is no friend, but a shadow cloaked in light, an enemy kissing with lips that curse. Now see another who speaks plain. He strikes you with a truth, your haste, your pride, but his blow is not to wound, only to wake. His silence is heavy with care, his words sharp with love. This is the friend Pythagoras bids us trust, for his strike builds, while the enemy's kiss breaks. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by his silence, and a true friend by the honesty he dares. The blow may sting, the call to rise when you'd rather rest, the mirror held when you'd rather turn. But it is a gift, a mark of loyalty deeper than flattery's sugared veil. Do not chase after happiness in the praise of false tongues. It is always in you, and truest friends help you find it. In anger, refrain both from speech and action, for even a friend's harsh word needs reason's filter. But when it comes, weigh it, for it carries more worth than an enemy's embrace. Our age blurs these lines. Gossip hums through air and wire, alliances shift like sand, and we cling to those who soothe rather than those who sharpen. Pythagoras bids us pause. Whatever they think of you, do what you think is fair, and choose companions who do the same. Power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of discernment presses close. False friends sap the soul, true ones steal it. Above all things, respect yourself, and demand no less from those you call friend. For their words and deeds shape the journey as surely as yours. The harmony of sharing and trust. These truths, friends as sharers and helpers, friends as bearers of hard truth, are not separate streams but a single river, flowing toward a life of deeper joy. Pythagoras, who saw salt born of the purest parents, the sun and the sea, saw friendship as the purest bond of the soul, sharing to lift, striking to mend. Rest satisfied with doing well and leave others to talk of you as they please, but let friends be the ones who walk with you, their presence a testament to the harmony of trust. Practice this bond daily. Share not just in plenty, but in want, your fears, your hopes, your quiet hours, and let them share with you. Aid not just in triumph, but in trial. Offer a hand, a ear, a steady step, and let them aid you. Reason is immortal, all else mortal, and friendship rooted in reason endures beyond the fleeting. When shadows fall, doubt, loss, the weight of days, friends are the companions who persevere, their light your own. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, and in friendship, we kneel to lift each other, sharing the load of life. Guard this with discernment. He who sows the seeds of murder and pain will not reap joy and love. So shun the friend who sows discord with words, and seek the one whose blow is a balm. Do not look back when leaving false ties. Choose the rough path of truth, and custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. The world will tempt you with shallow bonds, smiles that fade, promises that break. But sobriety is the strength of the soul, and true friends preserve it, unclouded by passion or deceit. This is not effortless. Ability and necessity dwell near each other, and the necessity of friendship presses close, to find it, to keep it, to sift it from the chaff. Yet the reward is a journey not walked alone, a happiness not hoarded but multiplied. Be equally indifferent to blame and praise, but not to the voices of those who share your road. Their aid is your strength, their truth your guide. A call to share and discern. We hope for your support, not in mere echoes, but in forging this ancient bond. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and now Pythagoras calls. Share with friends, trust the true, let the false fall away. Be a good son, just brother, spouse tender, and good father. Not in isolation, but in companionship that lifts. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Seek it in those who walk beside you, and let their light join yours. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Let friendship be that star, shared, steady, true. Living with meaning, the eternal craft of Pythagoras. In the boundless weave of the cosmos, where numbers govern the stars and the soul hums with immortal reason, Pythagoras offers a compass for the heart. To live with meaning is to live with truth and presence. His voice, resonant from the ancient stillness, pierces the haze of our distracted age, calling us to anchor ourselves in the now and face our flaws with courage, to dwell fully in the moment, to mend errors with honest reflection. These are not mere counsels but the essence of a life well shaped. Let us tread the unfrequented paths of his wisdom and explore why the present holds the secret to happiness, and how correcting our missteps, not cloaking them, crafts a life of purpose. 1. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present. Pythagoras bids us cease our wandering, our endless chase into tomorrow's promises or yesterday's regrets, and plant our feet firmly in the now. Happiness, he teaches, is not a distant shore to sail toward, nor a lost harbor to mourn. It is the ground beneath us, the air we breathe, the moment we hold if only we would grasp it. To live in the present is a science, a craft of the soul, precise and profound, where every thought, every act, aligns with the pulse of time's eternal soul. Picture a man lost in what might be. He dreams of wealth yet to come, of triumphs yet to win, and each day slips by unnoticed, a shadow he never sees. Or see a woman trapped in what was. She replays old wounds, old words, and the hours pass in chains of memory, unlived. Now behold another, who wakes to the dawn as it breaks. He labors with the sun at its height, rests with its fall, and finds joy in the task at hand, the breath in his chest. This is the one Pythagoras praises, a soul who knows that time is the soul of the world, and to live with it, not against it, is to touch happiness. The modern tide pulls us elsewhere. Screens flicker with futures to fear, pasts to lament. Voices urge us to rush ahead or linger behind. We chase after happiness in plans and promises, forgetting it is always in you, here, now. Pythagoras whispers, "Do not look back when leaving this drift. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and the present is that star, steady, clear, yours." Concern should drive us into action, not into depression, and the action is simple. Cease the flight, stand still, live. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day, and let each be a note in the song of now, complete, unburdened, whole. This science demands focus. Reason is immortal, all else mortal, and to tether the mind to the present is to align with reason's pulse. Choose rather to be strong of soul than strong of body, for the body races time and loses, but the soul, rooted in the moment, endures. The great science of living happily is not a gift bestowed. It is a skill honed, a harmony struck, a happiness claimed in the only place it dwells, correcting with reflection, not concealing with lies. The second thread of this wisdom ties meaning to honesty. Don't try to cover your mistakes with false words. Rather, correct your mistakes with examination. Pythagoras knew that to live well is to face the self unflinching, not to shroud our stumbles in deceit, but to lay them bare, to probe them, to mend them. A lie is a veil that dims the soul's light. Reflection is a mirror that sharpens it. To err is human, to correct is divine, and in that correction lies the path to a life of purpose. Imagine a man who falters. He spills harsh words in anger, or idles when duty calls, and rather than own it, he spins a tale. Excuses, blames, a web of false words to hide the flaw. The lie buys him a moment's ease, but the fault festers, the soul clouds, and meaning slips away. Now see another who stumbles the same. She pauses, turns inward, examines. Why the rage? Why the lapse? Her reflection stings, but it clears. Her correction builds, and her life rights itself. This is the one Pythagoras calls us to be, a soul who trades the coward's cloak for the sage's lens. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by his silence, and a meaningful life by the truth it dares to face. To cover a mistake is to bury it alive, where it gnaws unseen. To examine it is to uproot it, to heal the ground it scarred. Do not say a little in many words, but a great deal in a few, and let those few be honest, spoken to yourself first. In anger, refrain both from speech and action, for fury breeds lies. In fault, refrain from deceit, for reflection breeds growth. Sobriety is the strength of the soul, preserving its reason unclouded by passion, and honesty is its blade, cutting through the fog to purpose. Our world tempts us to hide. Voices praise the quick excuse, the polished mask. We fear the blow of judgment more than the weight of falsehood. Pythagoras bids us stand. Above all things, respect yourself, and let that respect demand truth. Power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of correction presses close. False words chain the soul, honest examination frees it. Whatever they think of you, do what you think is fair, and let your mistakes, once mended, become steps, not stains. The harmony of presence and truth. These truths, living in the present, correcting with reflection, are not separate chords but a single melody, a hymn to a life of meaning. Pythagoras, who saw salt born of the purest parents, the sun and the sea saw presence and honesty as the purest parents of purpose. Dwelling fully now, facing fully what is, rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they please, for meaning needs no echo beyond the soul's own song. Practice this harmony daily. Anchor yourself in the moment. Let the wind you feel, the task you hold, be your world, and find happiness there. When you err, and you will pause not to flee but to face, not to lie but to learn. Friends share all things, and let this truth be your companion, aiding you to persevere on the road to a happier life. He who sows the seeds of murder and pain will not reap joy and love. So sow instead the seeds of presence and honesty, and reap a life that stands tall. Decline the public ways, walk in unfrequented paths, and there find the meaning that waits in the now, unveiled by reflection. The world will pull you astray. Shadows of past and future loom. Voices urge you to gloss over flaws with glitter. Yet choose always the way that seems the best, however rough it may be, and custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, and in living now, in mending true, we lift ourselves and others to heights of purpose. Ability and necessity dwell near each other, and the necessity of meaning presses close. To be here, to be real, to be whole. This is not a soft path. Drunkenness is an exercise in madness, and to flee the present or cloak the truth is to stagger lost. A person captured by his passions cannot be free, and to lie to oneself is to lock the chains. Yet the reward is a life not wasted, a happiness not deferred, a purpose not buried. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and in the present, in truth, that star shines within. A call to be and mend. We hope for your support, not in mere whispers, but in crafting this ancient art. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and now Pythagoras calls. Dwell here, face your flaws, let meaning rise. Be a good son, just brother, spouse tender, and good father. Not in shadows or masks, but in the light of now and truth. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Live it, mend it, and let the rest fade like dust before the dawn. Time is the soul of the world. Live with it, live true and live full. Law and order, the cosmic balance of Pythagoras. In the vast symphony of existence, where numbers rule the universe and the soul dances with immortal reason, Pythagoras offers a solemn chord. Law and order are mirrors of the human spirit, reflections of our capacity for freedom and wisdom. His voice, echoing from the ancient stillness, carries a weight that humbles our restless age, urging us to see beyond the statutes and courts to the deeper harmony they serve. When laws become necessary, freedom wanes. When reason speaks through legislation and justice, order aligns with truth. Let us walk the unfrequented paths of his teachings and explore why the need for law signals a loss of liberty, and how the voices of reason and justice strive to restore the balance he revered. 1. As soon as laws are necessary for men, they are no longer fit for freedom. Pythagoras bids us look to the root of order, not in the chains that bind, but in the souls that break free. Freedom, he teaches, is not a gift bestowed by decree, but a state earned through self-mastery, a harmony woven within before it can flourish without. When men govern themselves with reason and virtue, laws fade into silence, unneeded. When they falter, laws rise like walls, marking the boundary where liberty ends. To need law is to confess a failure, not of the system, but of the self, for no one is free who has not obtained the empire of himself. Picture a village where hearts align with the good. Each man shares, each woman aids, and trust flows like a river. No theft, no strife, no need for edicts carved in stone. Their freedom is pure, their order organic, born of souls strong and clear. Now see a city where greed festers and rage flares. Hands steal, tongues wound, and laws spring forth. Locks, guards, punishments, to hold the chaos at bay. Their freedom is lost, not by a tyrant's hand, but by their own, for they could not command themselves. This is the truth Pythagoras mourns. Laws are the shadow of liberty's retreat. The modern world bristles with this shadow. Rules multiply on streets, in homes, across screens, and we lean on them, mistaking control for peace. Pythagoras whispers, "Decline the public ways, walk in unfrequented paths. Reason is immortal, all else mortal, and freedom rooted in reason needs no overseer." Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and that star is the self, unclouded by passion, unbound by necessity's neighbor power. Concern should drive us into action, not into depression, and the action is clear. Master the soul, and let laws fall silent, uncalled. This is no call to chaos, but to a higher order. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child, and a society is never as free as when it kneels to its own virtue. Choose rather to be strong of soul than strong of body, for the body bends to force, but the soul, governed by reason, stands free. When laws are necessary, they mark not triumph but loss, a loss we can reclaim step by step within. The voices of reason and justice. The second thread of this wisdom elevates law beyond mere restraint. Legislation should be the voice of reason, and the judge the voice of the law. Pythagoras saw order not as a whip, but as a song, a harmony struck when reason speaks through the codes that guide us, and justice echoes those codes indeed. Laws are not chains to bind, but chords to tune the soul. Judges are not lords to rule, but stewards to sing the melody true. Together, they reflect the universe's balance, where number rules and truth endures. Imagine a law crafted in haste. It shouts with anger, bends with greed, and serves not the whole but the few. Its voice is discord, its weight oppression, and the people chafe beneath it, their freedom doubly lost, to their flaws and to its flaws. Now see a law born of reason. It whispers fairness, weighs need against right, and lifts all who heed it. The judge who speaks it stands not above, but with his rulings a clear note, not a jarring clash. This is the order Pythagoras envisions, a system where legislation mirrors the soul's sobriety, and justice preserves it, unclouded by passion. Reason as the voice of law demands clarity. Do not say a little in many words, but a great deal in a few, and let those few be true, etched with the mind's light, not the heart's heat. In anger, refrain both from speech and action, for fury drowns reason's song. In judgment, let no one persuade you by word or deed to do what is not best for you, for justice bends to no whim. A fool is known by his speech, a wise man by his silence, and a law by the reason it bears. Above all things, respect yourself and demand laws that respect the same. Justice as the voice of law demands fidelity. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades, and never trust a judge who twists the code for gain. Their betrayal echoes the same. Whatever they think of you, do what you think is fair, and let the judge do the same, his voice a mirror of the law's intent. Power is the near neighbor of necessity, and the necessity of justice presses close. Without it, laws are noise, not order. He who sows the seeds of murder and pain will not reap joy and love. So let legislation sow reason, and justice reap harmony. Our age strains this ideal. Laws bend to loud voices, judges sway to fleeting winds, and order phrase. Pythagoras bids us hold fast. As soon as you awake, in order lay the actions to be done the coming day, and let one be this, to live so that laws need not bind you, and to seek those that sing with reason when they must. Do not look back when leaving the chaos of excess. Choose the rough path of balance, and custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. The harmony of freedom and order. These truths, laws as a mark of lost freedom, laws as reason's voice, are not separate notes but a single refrain, a hymn to the balance Pythagoras revered. Time is the soul of the world, and in its flow freedom and order dance, self-mastery lifting us above the need for rules, reason guiding them when they rise. Rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they please. For true order needs no echo beyond the soul's own chord. Practice this balance daily. Govern yourself. Share with friends. Aid the weak. Temper your passions. And let freedom bloom where laws once stood. When order calls, heed laws that speak with reason. Uphold justice that mirrors their truth. Friends, share all things, and let this harmony be your companion, aiding you to persevere on the road to a happier life. Sobriety is the strength of the soul, and in its clarity, freedom and order align, unclouded by the storms of excess. The world will tempt you to stray. Voices clamor for control, not balance. Hands grasp for power, not peace. Yet ability and necessity dwell near each other, and the necessity of this harmony presses close. To live free, to live true. A person captured by his passions cannot be free, and a society captured by unjust laws cannot stand. Choose always the way that seems the best, however rough it may be, and let reason's voice, within and without, be your guide. The great science of living happily is to live only in the present, and in this moment, that science is yours to master. As we close this journey through Pythagoras' wisdom, his call to self-mastery, his song of reason and justice, we stand at the edge of a truth as vast as the cosmos he loved. To live with meaning is to live in harmony, within and without. Law and order are not ends but mirrors, reflecting our freedom or its loss, our reason or its lapse. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light, and that star is you, free when you rule yourself, ordered when reason rules all. To you, our cherished companions on this path, the ZenLight 8 family offers our deepest thanks. You've walked with us through these 8 reflections: self-control, words, education, happiness, spirit, friendship, meaning, and now law, each a thread in the tapestry of a life well lived. Your presence, your support in likes, comments, and quiet moments of thought has lit our way as surely as Pythagoras' wisdom has lit yours. This channel is not ours alone, but ours together. A space where ancient truth meets modern hearts, where we seek not just to speak, but to share, to aid, to persevere on the road to a happier life. We hope you carry these lessons forward, not as echoes, but as embers, warming your days and guiding your steps. Be a good son, just brother, spouse tender, and good father. Not for laws, but for love. Not for order, but for harmony. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten, and with you by our side, ZenLight 8 will keep seeking it, one starlit truth at a time. Thank you for watching, for walking, for being. Until next time, may your soul shine free and true.